that's like one of the nightmares that I think about when you're drinking beers. If someone bumps into you and you just like hit your face with it, or oh god, or even just stepping out of bottle, like someone drops it and you step on it. That's beer bottles could be
Well,
weapons.
I was a bit of a wild child in my Berlin days, you know, a bit of high drama, might we say?
Who wasn't it went to Berlin? That's the whole point.
Yeah,
If Berlin either makes you like that or you already are walking in. You're just
Well,
like
I was both.
larger than life. Yeah.
But I got in one of I think the only fist fight of my adult life there, which wasn't even a fight. I just got punched out, basically. I got punched out by, well, that's a long story, but it was over total bullshit. And he got banned for life because I was tight with the security, and so he got banned for life.
He punched,
But
he also
other
punched
real
you,
quick Berlin thing was I ended up in the hospital all night because I lived 1 block away from Berlin at this time, but I walked out and said, "Hey, everybody, you know those old street meters, the like kind of
yeah,
the old-fashioned ones that you put the quarter into?
Yeah.
There was one right there in front of
Rest in
Berlin."
peace.
And you know how I kind of am into professional wrestling? Yeah, right. Rest in peace. But I said, "Hey, everybody, look. It was like 4 a.m. We were leaving the Berlin. And I said, watch. And I pretended to like get my head bashed into the meter, except I missed and actually bashed my own head into it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And I remember waking up on the ground. Like, it was like a movie where I saw stars and everything.
Yeah.
And all my friends' faces were looking down at me. And I think somebody was laughing and another person was like really concerned. And they said, "You're bleeding." I said, "No, I'm not bleeding." And I went like this to my head. And then I looked at my hand and it was just totally red.
Yeah, because you bleed from your head, it just comes right out like that. It's a lot of blood
that,
coming out.
I had quit smoking for like a year and a half at that point. And you know, you could still smoke inside Berlin and everything back then. So it was really a big deal to quit. And I had quit for a year and a half. And that night, my friend who came with me to the hospital, where I had to sit and wait for hours, they just like put a Band-Aid on me and then I sat there for hours. Then they tried to shave off. They wanted to shave my hair like this.
Oh, no.
And I was in a play that was about to open.
Oh, of course.
A Chekhov play. Not like some weird modern play, but a Chekhov play. So that means that this was like, oh my God, this was 20 years ago almost.
That's a lot. Wow. That's a.
Yeah, and
you were youngin', yeah.
I convinced them to super glue it with medical glue. They were gonna stitch it, and I said, "No, just glue it." Thank God, I have no scar, nothing.
Let's see. There's nothing there.
Yeah, nothing there.
No,
Yeah.
like every once in a while, it'll itch, and I'll look in the mirror, and it's like it'll appear just a little tiny bit, but
your brains are just starting to come out, you know.
But that night, when I was waiting to be seen by a doctor, I smoked a cigarette, and it had been that my friend had because I was just.
Yeah, well,
and they wouldn't release me from the hospital. The next morning, they said, "How much cocaine are you on?" And I said, "No." At that time, I had never tried cocaine in my life. Never.
Yeah.
And I said, "I have never." And they kept badgering me, this doctor.
Huh.
And he said, "Well, how about Red Bull? Did you have any Red Bull?" And I said, "Yeah, I had like 6 Red Bulls."
Yeah.
Said, Red Bull and vodka. That's what I used to drink.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same chemical.
That was the last time I ever had Red Bull.
Yeah.
Except for maybe like an emergency once at work. I've never. He gave me a lecture about the dangers of Red Bull, and I listened. And so
I guess we're gonna die because we drink it all the time. Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I mean, not like all day, but we definitely have 1 or 2 a week or something. But you know, it's factory grade sugar.
Well, the options he gave me, he wanted to hook me up to an IV, and I said no. So I had to drink this like enormous like 2-gallon or thing of water through a straw.
Yeah.
And it made me sick.
Yeah.
But so that was that story.
That's crazy. Oh
but
my
Smart
God.
Bar, just I kind of, you know, there was drama once in a while at Smart Bar for sure. But for the most part, it was a totally different, a more elevated environment. And it was mostly because of Queen. But there was also, what was that event that used to be on Saturdays? I know you went all the time. What was the big?
No, that's Thursdays. What was it like?
There was it was like hipstery, straight people, more techno-y.
Oh, Octave?
No, not Octave.
Because Octave was like
It was
Fridays.
like the big kind of straight techno party.
I think it may have been research and development, but
Maybe,
they're
or
back on
Hugo
Thursdays,
Ball,
or Hugo
or
Hugo
Ball.
Ball. I'm thinking about Hugo Ball.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Justin Long. He was. I think that
Justin
was.
Long, right.
I think that
Yeah.
was something he did like on his own and started on his own, and then it was that idea of having that DJ tornado where there's more than one DJ playing and they kind of rotate throughout the night, and they did that. It was like a ball. I mean, it was like the straight ball. I mean, I'm sure there were queer people there,
Well,
but
that's the thing. It was queer
but
friendly. It was queer friendly.
And
Yeah.
Justin's, he's that person. He loves, if you're not an asshole, he loves you,
Yeah.
But
And I enjoyed that. I didn't go like every week, but I was like, this is different and I'm comfortable here. And I can't remember when I became friends with Alberto, but I feel like we've been friends forever, maybe from Berlin even. I can't remember, but we've been friends forever. We have our
I mean, you
birthdays are a
probably
day
knew the same
apart.
people too, because he was dating someone that for a while too, that was kind of frequenting that Boys Town and stuff like that. So maybe, I don't know how long he's been bartending at Smart Bar for. I feel like it's
Long
been
time.
forever. Yeah.
Long time. I'll have to ask him how we met, but something really amazing that happened was, remember how I mentioned how last April I flew down here to look at the, well, I found my apartment then, which was a miracle because it was like 4 months ahead of time. And all kinds of crazy things happened to sort of like push me to move here. Everything just sort of like worked out. But one of those weird things was when I was here, I was staying at this weird little building on my campus, which is in the middle. It's almost like a suburb, but it's in the city. Nothing to do. So I took the bus down here and I had an appointment to see this apartment where I'm living now, this house. And I think he saw on Facebook that I was here, but Boy Alberto messaged me and he's like, hey, I'm in New Orleans with my sister and all her friends for my sister's birthday. And his Airbnb was like a block away from here. So
Wow.
he was with me when I found this apartment and we spent the whole weekend together.
Aww.
And we went to French Quarter Fest and had an amazing time and ate out and everything. And
I remember that. I think I remember them visiting you. Yeah. I remember
and
you
that
guys,
sort of started this really amazing trend since I moved here too, which is people always come to New Orleans. People come here all the time. So even though a few people came just to see me, and I had like 5 people coming in March that all canceled because of this, which really fucking sucked.
Yeah. Well, we would come and see you for sure if it wasn't for this. I mean, that
the
would
last
be nice.
people I saw actually were Sean Jacobine and Julia.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
they
that's
were here
amazing.
when all this COVID shit started. Like, before everything shut down, and things were already kind of shutting down, and it was getting weird.
Yeah.
It was getting weird, but they were here. They were the last people I saw. But people come all the time, and so I ended up over the past year spending time with people from Chicago that I didn't spend time with anymore, that I hadn't seen in 10 years or 15 years.
You had a chance to kind of do that, and
a lot of
I
bonding.
hate this quarantine. I hate it so much.
Oh, this quarantine shit,
it's
awful.
Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over. Get the vaccine going already. Let's go.
Well, yeah, that's a whole lot. My dad's an infectious disease specialist, so I always have his opinion. I always bounce things off him, even though he doesn't know that much more than you can find on Google, really.
Yeah,
but
of course.
It's different when you know somebody that you trust and who's really smart.
Absolutely.
But I even sent him like this latest conspiracy video to say, Dad, debunk this for me. What's going on here? And he did. He took it really seriously, and he sent back like a 12-point debunk of the
oh
video.
My God!
Thank you, Dad. Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go, son. I got you.
Yeah, so I listened to him, but he says, he's like, well, he's really upset with, even though he thinks your governor Pritzker has been doing a really good job. He's really concerned about this 5-step plan of his because he said, the way that Pritzker's laid it out, we're not going to reopen as a state until this phase 5, and this phase 5 is a vaccine. My dad thinks the vaccine might be like 2 to 3 years.
That's what I was hearing. Yeah, I was hearing it's going to be
and
for a while. And people are protesting it too. People,
it's a long time.
Yeah, people are protesting that. I mean, imagine.
Yeah,
like I
they're
said
gonna get
before,
a lot worse.
I said before, with every other disease that's ever been around, I could say in my lifetime that I'm living this life where we found out there's this new virus we never heard of, and now we have to go through this process. And I mean, it was like with every other disease, like polio and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, I never thought this would happen in my lifetime where we would have to, figure this out. It's like a new frontier.
I think we're all having those thoughts, but the funny thing is, I've actually, because of my acting background, I did a play once called The Dancing Plague, not too long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And it was a play, but it was based on things that really happened in the Middle Ages. And, in the Middle Ages, this kind of shit happened all the time.
Yeah.
This same group of viruses, the plague, came around and killed millions and millions of people all the damn time. And they didn't have social media. They didn't have the news. News took months to travel sometimes.
Yeah.
So these people in these little medieval towns who were dirt poor, uneducated, only believed in the Bible, nothing else. And they believed that if you got sick, it's because you were evil.
Or you were poor. Yeah. Like only the rich, remember, only the rich are the sinner. People who didn't sin didn't get sick. And it's like,
well, the Catholic Church at the time, I learned all this doing this play, but the Catholic Church was very wealthy. They hoarded all the wealth. And these little towns in Europe were just, at the mercy of the church pretty much. And they had, maybe 2 cows and a pig, and that was their wealth. That was all they had. And so they went through famines and all kinds of horrible things. And they were extremely superstitious people, superstitious. And they would hear, oh my gosh, the plague has come to the town next to us. And they would start to get really afraid and panic. And then that when it spread to their town, whoever got it first, they would blame them. And they went through huge blaming cycles of it's all the Jews' fault. They would blame Jews all the time. And whores. And anyone with any sort of mental illness or difference, like what we would call now the spectrum.
Yeah.
That existed back then, not as much, but
they didn't know what it was.
No,
I mean, they didn't know what,
They thought it meant you were possessed.
And we were only learning about that from our shows. Matt and I have been watching a lot of shows about kings and queens and all of that. And
what y'all watching?
we're watching Last Kingdom. And
I keep hearing about that. Is it really good?
Oh God, it's so good. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
It's based
is it
on
kung
a book.
fu? What is it? Is it kung fu?
No, it's like it's basically about like a Viking who's born. He's born a Saxon, and then he lives as a Viking.
That's the Middle Ages, just like what you were talking about.
Every show we've been watching, it was about the Middle Ages, and yes, news doesn't travel that fast, and that people were just fucking poor as shit, and
superstitious,
the fact that they had to believe in
God
God and the church, and then the church didn't give a shit about them. I mean, you're so loyal to someone who treats you like nothing.
But these days, the church really does care. They really do care.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they're still taking your money.
Now that they've got all their business loans that they applied for.
They don't have to pay taxes anymore. You've never had to pay
no
taxes,
but they get the loans. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful?
These small business loans, like the place I work got one, they dictate that 75% of the loan monies have to go to employees. So guess what has to happen now? All of the restaurants and bars have to reopen. It's right there in the loan. I got an email yesterday saying, hey everybody, we miss you so much. I hope you're ready to get back to work. We're going to be calling you in soon. We're having a meeting tomorrow and we'll let you know. Like, we're about to go back to fucking work. And it's really terrifying because my unemployment just came through like 2 weeks ago. I went 5 weeks without a dime. And man, I've learned some good lessons. And just to clarify, there are good things about this. I don't want to say like about the virus, but there are good things that I'm finding in this experience of, having time to cook every day, being really mindful of what I spend money on, being really, really mindful of not buying any food or groceries that are going to go to waste, buying food that I can plan 2-3 meals ahead of time. I'm going to use this spinach for an omelet, and then I'm going to use it for, this Indian dish I'm going to make, and then I'm going to put it on pizza, etc. So I've been